Hey guys, I'm Shreyas, and today we're in the fifth day of the August Lead Coding Challenge, and the question for today is stone game. So there are a lot of versions of this problem. This being the first version, there are like 7-8 versions, but this one is the most basic version. And so in this problem, like simplifying all these jargon words, all those things, we are given an array of positive integers, and we have two players who play in alternate turns, and in each move a player can either choose the starting element of the array or the last element of the array and add the elements, add that value to his or her score, and then in the next turn the other guy moves and does the same thing. So when a player chooses the first or the last value, in the next turn will not have that element for the next guy, so the array will be updated after each turn. So those are the rules, and the array length is always even, and the sum of all the numbers is odd. So that means there cannot be a draw. Either Alex or Lee wins, so there's no draw. And we have to return true if Alex is able to win the game, provided he starts the game first and both of them play optimally, in the sense both of them play in such a manner that they adopt a winning strategy. So those are the conditions. Next, the constraints is like the array length can be up to 500 and the array values can be also up to 500, but the sum of the array values is odd. That means, yeah, as discussed earlier. So coming to the solution part, basically this is the game theory problem, and the hint, almost all game theory, most of the game theory problems have dynamic programming solutions, because especially in these kinds of problems where we have options, like we have an option to choose from the front or from the back in every move. So there are options for every move, right? So there's a huge hint to use dynamic programming in these kinds of problems. So yeah, the straightforward approach is the DP approach. I don't know any of the brute force approach, it might be there, but DP is more intuitive than brute force in these cases because of the options that are present. So first we'll discuss the dynamic programming approach. So I've done this recursion plus memoization over here instead of the traditional DP approach. So the states of the DP are the starting index and the ending index of the array. Like the array keeps updating, right? At any point of time, what is the starting and the ending index of the array? So that is the DP state. That result we are storing, because if we are visiting the same states once again in the future, then we don't have to again calculate for the same set of points. So it's DP of starting and the ending index, and a DP of ij represents what is the difference in the scores of Lee and Alex and Lee. Over here Alex starts first, so a DP of ij means given an array which starts at ith index and ends at the jth index, what is the difference of the scores between Alex and Lee. So that is given by DP of ij. So we obviously need DP of 0 comma n minus 1. So if DP of 0 comma n minus 1 is greater than 0, that means the difference is positive between Alex and Lee, and hence Alex win, and we return true to the and we return true. And if it's less than 0, then Bob wins and we return false. It cannot be equal to 0. So yeah, so this is DP of up till 500. The array length can be up till 500. So and the size of both the I and j is 500 over here, and we are just initializing with -1, and margin is the name of the function call, because this function will return the difference between the Alex and Lee score. So if you have already visited the state, then just return the value of dp I comma j. Otherwise we know that both the players adopt a winning strategy, means they play optimally. So they would pick the maximum of the first element or the last element, and then this is there is a minus sign over here because in the next move the other guy would be playing, right? So in the next function call the other guy would be playing, so hence the current guy will pick the pile which has maximum value of the current value minus the next function calls value. Since this function is returning the difference of the arrays, hence I'm using a negative sign over here, because whatever then, suppose there are only two values. If the first guy chooses the first value and the next guy does not have any choice other than choosing the remaining value, so what we'll get is the difference between the first and the last value, and hence there's a minus sign over here. So whatever is the maximum of between these, guy can have only two options, so at the most, and hence he'll return whatever is the maximum between these two options. And yeah, if I is equal to j, then he has only one option, that is to choose the current element. So this will return the difference of the scores, and if it's greater than 0, then we return true because Alex is starting the game, and hence if it's greater than 0, then Alex is winning the game. And we return true, otherwise we return false. So this is the first approach based on dynamic programming. Both the time and space complexity is O of n square. Let's discuss the second approach. So in the second approach, it's based on some observation. Over here, one thing we can notice is each player has to choose only one coin, only one value, right? Like it's not, there's no condition that you have to choose like consecutive number of elements, all those things. So he has to choose only one value, and the size of the array is even. So let's say these are the, let's say the array has 6 elements. So and there is also one more condition, that the sum of the array elements is odd. So either the first plus third plus fifth, or the second plus fourth plus sixth, they either one of them should have a greater value than the other because the sum is odd. So Alex before playing his first move can calculate which one has the greater sum and then play his move accordingly. For example, if there are 4 elements in this array, now Alex has the first move. Alex has to do the move, right? He has two options, either to choose 1 and 6. 6 is greater than 1, but he won't choose 6. He will choose 1, because if he chooses 6 in the next move, Lee can choose 9, right? So he'll choose 1, and in the next move, even if Bob chooses 6, even if Lee chooses 6, Alex can choose 9 in his second move. So that is how he has pre-calculated the sum of the values. So the sum of 1 plus 9 is greater than the sum of 3 plus 6. So 10 is greater than 9. So he will make a strategy in a way that he'll choose only these odd position numbers. So that is how he can make a strategy, and there are no unforced errors over here because there are no any other conditions. So he can, because he's picking only one element at a time, and hence he can make the strategy of winning. So even if, so no matter what Bob plans, what Lee plans, the winner will always be Alex. So you can either write this huge code, or you can just return true. So even this will get accepted. So, and yeah, because every time Alex wins. So this was about the problem, and obviously this approach is like O of 1 in both time and space. So sometimes these kind of observations helps us. That the trick over here is that these conditions are quite suspicious. They don't matter in dynamic programming. These conditions don't matter in dynamic programming solutions, but over here it matters. Why is it even, and why is the sum of all the piles odd? So it's an intuition that there is another simpler solution existing over here. So those were the two approaches, guys, and thanks for watching the video. Have a nice day.